great.
Yeah, and I think Savini's credit was Disco Boy or something. I think that's what it says in the credits.
Like fucking from Mystery Men?
Yeah.
The Disco Boy?
Disco Boy, maybe Disco Guy. I don't remember. I think it was Disco Boy.
That's great.
But before the infamous shotgun scene, you'll notice a helicopter shot a couple of them, and those were actually outtakes from Dario Argento's Inferno. Because if you look at the budget, like, you know they don't have money.
I always just assumed that it was like public domain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But when I watched director's commentary, he was working with Argento on Inferno in some capacity, and they had all this stock footage that they couldn't use because the camera was too shaky. So if you just keep an eye on it, like, there is like constant shaking. So he got to use all that footage from that, and he pieced together like the best he could. So, just thought I'd throw that out there.
That's actually kind of interesting. I didn't know that. And then Tom Savini takes the girl down by what I'm assuming is
Verrazano Bridge.
Yeah, the bridge, and starts trying to put the moves on her while they're getting it on, or just at least while Tom and the girl's trying to get it on. You see Frank kind of peeping through the window, watching them in a very creepy way. I think that's when the girl notices him and starts freaking out. So
yeah, they get back in the front seat of the car.
And then this is like one of my favorite shots of the movie, where Tom Savini just turns the headlights on and there's Frank Zito just standing right there, and he fucking jumps up on the hood of the car, straight up pulls out a shotgun, aims it at Tom Savini's head, and just blows his head away in just an extremely awesome fashion.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so disgusting. Gene Siskel had to leave the theater when he
I
watched
love
it.
the aftermath where there's just like shit dripping down from the ceiling of the car, and like, as much as I love the shotgun blast and Prowler, Maniac fucking takes the cake for sure.
I think it takes the cake in any shotgun to the head scene ever.
Yeah, it's better than the one in Dawn of the Dead too.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of interesting information here, because the dummy used in the shotgun scene had been used extensively for Dawn of the Dead, and after its use with Maniac, it was so saturated with fake blood it was retired. And according to Savini, the dummy was, they heard, after the shotgun went off, they heard sirens, so they had to hurry up and get out of there because they were filming without a permit, and the only thing they could do was throw the dummy into the trunk, lock it up, and push the car into the river and just leave it there. So maybe someone down the road found that car and popped open the trunk and had a nasty surprise.
That's actually a myth about the car in the river.
Car being dumped in the river.
Yeah.
Really? I heard that.
No, that's what Savini said also on the commentary. That's what he thought happened.
Oh, okay.
And supposedly what happened was the car stunk so bad, like, after that, they took it to like a garage in Bronx or something, like, I don't know. They eventually retired the car, but they shot all those other scenes with the girl cowering in the back seat 2 weeks later in the same car, so they couldn't have done that. So
he's in bed with the mannequin and handcuffs himself to it.
Yeah, more talking to himself while that's going on.
Yeah, and this is in the next scene is when we finally meet Carolyn Monroe in the park.
Yeah, is it Sybil is her name? Oh, no, sorry, Anna.
Are you thinking of the movie Sybil?
Yes. No.
I was thinking of the TV show Sybil with
Sybil Shepherd?
Sybil Shepherd, yeah. Really good suspenseful show about spousal abuse. But I digress.
Yeah. But yeah, Frank notices while he's in the park, the photographer Anna just taking pictures of random things, and she ends up leaving her bag behind, and he goes up to her bag and like takes a look at her address, and then later on, he's walking down the street, and he ends up stopping in front of the store and stares at mannequins, like just making weird moaning sounds while he's staring at them, like just kind of whimpering.
Is this where he stalks the nurses?
Yep, I was saying. Then the next scene is when he starts stalking the nurse,
leaving the hospital.
Yep, and going down into the She ends up going to the subway, and of course, like typical New York style subway scene, she's by herself, and
that's a good tense chase scene, though.
Oh yeah, that cat and mouse is really intense. Like the parts in the bathroom, no score, no music, just silence.
Yeah, it's just heavy breathing.
Yeah.
And fear.
Yeah, and then I guess during that scene when it's supposed to be like, her being by herself completely alone in the subway, you see a couple of shots in the background where you see people moving on the upper floor.
Huh.
So, like, I guess they just didn't notice it when they filmed it. But yeah, she ends up going into the bathroom, thinking she got away from him. She goes and hides in the stall. After she thinks the killer walks in there and looks around, then walks back out, and she thinks she's safe, so she walks back out herself, and that is when you get that awesome dagger kill, like while she's staring in the mirror.
In the mirror shot, yeah, she bends down to splash water on her face and stands back up, and she's got Candyman behind her.
Yep.
Or Frank Zito. Yeah, the bayonet kill. I love, man, like, Savini just crams fucking Vietnam down your throat all the time, man. Bayonets everywhere, you know, like, bayonets.
He was in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, he was a war photographer.
That's where he probably got a lot of these ideas.
Maybe, actually, Vietnam really wasn't that gruesome. Sabini was over there just, like, doing effects on all of that. I don't know. That's stupid.
I believe this is the next scene where Frank goes to her Anna's apartment.
Well, before that, he dresses another mannequin up like the nurse and nails her scalp to it. And then Zito comes to her apartment.
Yep, and I ended up writing down the note. She's just a little too trusting of strangers and just lets him right in.
And then just like agrees to go to dinner with him. And just like this is a very creepy looking dude. You know,
right?
I mean,
he's even dressed up and everything, but he still looks creepy as hell.
Yeah.
So we're talking about where they're going to dinner right now.
Yeah.
Didn't you like kind of feel like that was like a little bit too false from the storyline? Like he's like super. That he was super charming.
Yeah,
like,
that he was way too good at being an actual human being.
Yeah, like or he's just so crazy he can just turn it on and off like that. Because the whole movie is projected as like a loner in his apartment.
Right.
And
I always got it as like that. It was his attempt to try to
blend in.
No, not even to blend in. To try to like be like, all right, I'm gonna do real human stuff now.
The human experience.
Yeah, human stuff.
yeah.
I don't want to kill this girl. I want to take her to dinner and
just like from the entire movie up till then. Now he like plays off like a really good normal civilian type guy, and
just a little awkward at times. Is what
it was kind of jarring. It was I don't know. I think it's not up to me for them to take it out of the movie, but they really should have. I should have.
Just that dinner scene in general.
I mean, I guess so. There really wasn't. If it was there to like build up a relationship kind of thing, or just
there's a little bit of insight into his character in that dinner scene. Like you see that he's while he's trying to be a normal human, he's still very, very manipulative, and he says something like he asks her out or whatever, and he says, "Oh, but I'm sure you're very busy and something will come up." You know, he might be trying to be a normal human being, but he's still being very manipulative, and it's probably the least exciting scene in the entire film.
Oh yeah,
but
sure,
I still feel like it's slightly necessary because it builds their relationship a little bit and brings them closer together and makes her trust him more. And
I was saying that I think this is right after their date. He ends up walking her back to her apartment, and she kisses him on the cheek, and you see him just kind of wipe it off his face.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny.
He wipes it off his that's when he fucking bombs her photo shoot.
Yep, and just kind of watches that, and that's when you see him kind of like getting kind of like the sweats and the urges, like you can tell like he's starting to get the urge again. He ends up grabbing something.
He steals a necklace.
Yeah, that's what it was. Steals the necklace from one of the models in the photo shoot.
Yeah, they make her take it off because it's emitting too much glare in the pictures or something, and he steals it.
And after he steals that, and he talks to Anne for a bit, and he ends up leaving. I forget much what their conversation was. I didn't think it was that important, so I didn't write it down. But after he leaves there, he ends up going back, somehow finding out where the model was staying, and shows up with her necklace, knocking on the door, and she lets him in. And
well, she doesn't let him in. She just opens the door, and while it's open, he like presses something on the inside of the door that disables the lock mechanism.
That's right. Uh-huh. Yep, and then when she's not paying, like when she's in the bathtub, I think is when he kind of like sneaks in, isn't it?
Yeah, she gets in the tub. It's the only nudity that we get in the movie, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be more, actually.
Given how seedy and sleazy and greasy this movie is overall, the fact that this is the only nudity scene is a little odd.
I mean, and it's really odd because she has little boy tits, too. And they look really weird. You see a little bush, too.
A little bush. Yeah, when
Yep.
she's squatting down into the bathtub. Yeah, a little bush.
And then she, I think she hears a noise, so she gets out of the tub to go see what it is. And
I like the panning shot out of the bathroom and down the hallway, and then his hand, clenching into a fist in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good shot.
I forget where he was hiding, but he ends up popping out and basically subduing her. He ties her to the bed.
Oh yeah, he does.
And while she's tied to the bed, he starts talking to her like she is his mother.
Gives her the speech.
Yep. Which did you get the speech written down? I did not.
No, I didn't.
Because there was a lot that he was saying there, but it was too much for me to write down quick enough. Yeah, as he's just talking to her, acting like it's her mother, it's his mother, he ends up stabbing her with a switchblade. And as he's stabbing her, he starts sobbing and calling her mommy.
Oh, one of the things that we forgot to mention about the initial prostitute kill is that while he's strangling her, he sees his mother.
Yeah.
Her face shifts from being the actual prostitute to being his mother, and then back again, and then back to his mother, and then back again.
That's right. So yeah, throughout this movie, you start to realize he's got some serious mommy issues.
Oh yeah, makes me feel totally normal.
And then after he stabs her, he ends up scalping her as well.
Naturally.
And does a show of the mannequin scene again, where
No, we don't. No, we don't see that one. Then from there, he goes back to his creepy little fucking apartment and sits there and shoots at his wall for a while.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's got that target drawn on his wall and women's pictures, and he's got, I don't know if it's a 22 or what the fuck it is, but he's just shooting at the wall.
And then the next day, he picks up Anna, and they while they're they must be going on a date or something like that. But he wants to stop by the cemetery to pay a visit to his mother's grave before they go, and she agrees.
Yeah, because that's not fucking creepy, right?
No, not at all.
I know that I constantly, hey, before we go out, can we stop by my mom's grave? Just real quick.
Yeah, I just need to see her real quick. You don't mind, do you?
That would be setting up for later for the sympathy fuck, though.
Right.
I mean, that's probably what he was going for. That's what I would do. Actually, I'm going to try that next time if I ever get a date again.
It's a good idea.
Take her to my brother's grave.
And while they're actually at the grave, he starts just crying, and he keeps repeating to himself, Rita knows, which I'm not sure, is Rita his mother then?
No, Rita was the model that he had killed the night before.
Okay.
And she, when he picked her up for the date or whatever, she even said, thanks for coming to Rita's funeral and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I didn't even catch that part.
Yeah, a lot of the serial killers have a tendency to go to their victims' funerals. It's like reliving and... Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think that's when Anna just kind of freaks out because he keeps repeating to himself, Rita knows, Rita knows.
Well, he grabs her and starts choking her, and then I'm not Rita, I'm Anna.
And this is a nice little chase scene through the graveyard.
Through the cemetery. She swats him with a shovel, hits him in the arm, and chops his arm, and gets away. And then he retires back to his creepy fucking serial killer apartment.
And I believe this is where another infamous scene gets ready to happen. Yeah,
yeah, this is the end of the film.
Yeah, this is the very end. So spoilers.
And you just
I mean, if you haven't seen this movie yet,
it's
fuck yeah.
36 years old.
I guess the spoiler would be he's not dead, I guess.
No, he's not.
If he died, that'd be a spoiler, right?
Man, you just start hearing the voice, Mommy has to punish you. And then he starts whimpering, please, Mommy, don't lock me in the closet. I think these are all just flashbacks in his head that he's hearing. And then you see the mannequins come to life, at least what he thinks they are. They're coming to life, and they all come towards him. And I think they're all the past victims.
The victims, and they all grab a weapon and have at him.
Yep, and start tearing him to pieces in a spectacular gore effect, which, if you've seen Day of the Dead, it's very reminiscent of that scene.
The Savini head
pull. One of them bayonets him in the gut, one of them chops his arm off with a machete, and then they,
You hear that awesome neck-snapping sound as they pull his head off.
Team up and rip his head off.
After that gory scene, pans to some cops that show up to Frank's, and they bust in the door, and they see that he assumed that they killed
those cops, by the way.
Yeah, they just kick in the door, see that he's self-bayoneted, and then oh, well, fuck it, let's go.
And they fucking leave. I don't even know who called the cops.
I would assume that Carolyn Monroe called the
cops. That's what I was saying.
That
Anne probably called the cops after being chased.
But but the fact that only 2 cops showed up, and that they kicked in the door with guns drawn, and then we're just okay.
All right, he's dead.
Yeah, they walk out, and then that's when like he's laying there, and I think it pans